Lauderdale. How you doing? We'll wake up. We'll wake up. Speak up. We'll speak up. Yeah. Stand up. We'll stand up. Faith, hope, and love gonna bring us through. Yeah, now, now, wake up. Oh, we'll wake up. Speak up. We'll speak up. We'll stand up. We're standing. Faith, hope, and love gonna get us through the next 20-some days. Wake up now. We are waking. I say I speak up. Well, you know we're speaking now. Stand up. We're standing. Faith, hope, and love gonna get us through. Yeah, faith, hope, and love gonna get us through. Oh, now faith, hope, and love gonna get us through. Everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down. Everybody's got somewhere to get to. Everybody, everywhere with glory bound. Everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down. And everybody's got somewhere to get to. And everybody, everywhere with glory bound. I'm the Reverend Vince Anderson, all the way from New York City. I had a long road to get here. Yeah, everybody's got a sidewalk to walk on. Everybody's got a road to go down. Everybody's got somewhere to get to. Everybody, everywhere with glory bound. Everybody, everywhere with glory bound. Everybody, everywhere with glory.
I'm a little bit nervous about breaking that platform, I gotta tell you the truth, man. Hey friends, we're glad to see you out here today. Now, our little bus has been driving around this country since January 2nd. We pulled it up outside the White House, and we started traveling the country with a reminder to the person inside the White House that change is coming on Election Day, and we gotta tell you, we're awfully glad to see that's 26 days away from right now. We're pretty excited about all this, but I also got a confession to make to you. I think you friends will understand this here in Fort Lauderdale. We spent the last 48 hours down at the ocean and at the beach, so if we look a little beach-headed, if we look a little dazed, if we look a little, sun-struck, it's because we've been spending some time out in your beautiful sun. So if we can find a time in a parking lot, it's good to be here. Now, all the friends are with us online. We know it feels like we're bragging that we're down here in South Florida. But people all over the country need a little bit of faith, hope, and love, so we're glad to be here today. Now, friends, we've been traveling around because we've all been hearing some things that don't sit so well with our souls. Amen? You know what I'm talking about. Now, some of it comes from the President of the United States himself, but we like to run a family-friendly event, so we won't be quoting the man, because things can turn a little blue if we do. So I just want to remind you that some of these things you've been hearing, that's not the only story happening in our world. You've been hearing people tell you that if you're truly a Christian, you have to vote like a Republican, even if the president is this Republican. And we are here to remind you that that just ain't so. You've been hearing people tell you that the news is nothing but fake, but we're here to remind you that there's a little bit of good news, and that good news is going to compel people to act in November 3rd on Election Day. And you've been hearing people tell you that America first is all you have to worry about. But friends, we're also called to care for the least of these and not just for ourselves. Amen? Can I get that amen? Thank you. Now, you're also being told that you're supposed to stack the courts. But you can gain the whole world and lose your very soul, and I feel like some people are making a bargain with the devil in this country, and we think it's time that people raise their voices. You're even hearing people say we need to close the borders, but you've been hearing the truth that you need to welcome the little children. You're hearing people tell you that you're supposed to vote for the Second Amendment, but we're here to remind you of the Second Commandment to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Or that you're supposed to only care about your 501k on Election Day. We're here to remind you that you cannot serve two masters. Friends, you've been hearing the President of the United States remind you that it is what it is when 200,000 fellow citizens have died of a coronavirus that was mismanaged. We're here to remind you that we have to bind up the brokenhearted and mourn with those who mourn. You're even hearing people tell you that you need to keep quiet and not share that little light that you've got. But friends, we're going to remind you today that you got to let that little light shine when the time comes. Now look, we're not here to convince you that Donald Trump is a problem. We could spend all of our time telling you that he's not up for the job. We could remind you that he's not only a bad businessman, he's a failed president. We could remind you of his daily levels of nonsense and discord. We could remind you of how dangerous he is by reminding you of the COVID virus and his denials and dithering and doing nothing. We could remind you of his crassness, his corruption, and his cruelty, how he's a hazard to the planet and all who live on it. We could remind you of kids in cages and soldiers with targets on their backs and corrupt leaders and advisors and consorting with bribing foreign governments. We could remind you of his daily disregard for decency and honor. But friends, we're not here to remind you how bad Donald Trump is. The man's like a self-cleaning oven. He does all the work for you. We don't have to convince you of that. We're here to remind you not how bad he is, but how good you are. That's why we call this Vote Common Good, because this is all about Election Day, and it's all about voters that are going to rise up. Now, friends, we like to say this is a bipartisan event, and some people feel like it's a Biden partisan event because we're inviting Democrats, Republicans, Green Party members, anarchists and libertarians, everybody to join us in voting against Donald Trump on Election Day, because at some point you just have to say enough is enough. Now, I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, I'm out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, glad to be with you here in the beautiful sun of Florida. And as a Christian and as a pastor, I believe that every person is the beloved child of God. Everyone here, the light of the world, salt of the earth. Donald Trump is a child of God, beloved by God, light of the world. Donald Trump is the salt of the earth, but not every light of the world should be the President of the United States. And this man simply needs to take his little light and get it out of the Oval Office and let it shine somewhere else and stop bothering the good people in this country. So friends, you're going to hear people tell you all the time, no. We get it all the time. No, can't make it. No, we can't host it. No, we can't show up. But every once in a while you hear a yes. And we know the yeses are building around this country. And I'll tell you about some yes people. Look around here. There's a bunch of yes men and women sitting around here. These are people that are going to live into that yes. And what yes people do is they find their light and they let that light shine. And when someone tells you, take down that sign, when someone tells you, keep your mouth closed, when someone tells you, don't combine your faith with your politics, you remind them every day that you're not going to hide that good news under a bushel. You're going to let that light shine. Aren't we, Vince? We're going to let that light shine. Friends, we're really glad you're here with us today.
This little light in mine now, well, I'm gonna let hold out this little light, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light, you know, we all gotta let it shine, and let it shine, well, let it shine, let your little light shine, 'cause if you, nobody else will, so let your little light shine, oh, now if you don't do it, nobody else will, so let your little light shine, your light is your light, and my light is my light, but together we are bright. So let it shine, let your little light shine. Put your hands together, come on. This little light of mine now, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. And it's a little light, you know I gotta let it shine, yeah, let it shine. Let my little light shine, yeah, let it shine, let
All right. Oh man, these things are tricky. Another round of applause for the Reverend Vince Anderson, y'all. My name is Genesis B. I am the poet laureate, proud poet laureate of Vote Common Good. How's everybody feeling today? Yeah, thank you for everybody who made it out. We appreciate you. Everybody tuning in at home, appreciate you being here. This piece is called Trump the Symptom. If Trump disappeared today, poof, what would America do? Would there still be all this Twitter commotion? Would America still worship money? Would we still pollute the oceans? Would we still imprison black men and shoot them down with no emotion? Would women still be the smartest in the room and still get passed up for promotions? What would America do if Trump no longer exists? Would we still destroy the planet for profit? Would we still have private prisons, the new slave trade and auction? Would men still write laws dictating what women do with our bodies, stripping away anatomical autonomy? Would we still shame women who use sex as commodity, but not shame men who buy sex in pornography? Would we still turn a blind eye to all this hypocrisy? What would America do if it was up to you? Would you finally purge law enforcement of white supremacist bigots? Would you finally grant equal rights to poor whites and immigrants? Would we still ignore the killing of trans folks? Because this is where America stands, folks. To know what would America do, we ask, what has America done? Well, for one, we massacred our native population. Yeah, we did that. From the blood of black slaves, we built the richest of nations. And we cried wolf before these terrorist threats. Remember weapons of mass destruction? You remember that? Y'all remember that? It's crazy how quickly we forget. I've seen America burn crosses on the lawns of my father. I've seen America separate mothers and toddlers. I've seen Americans vote for men whose only moral is money. Men who appeal to the sexism and racism of my beautiful Christian country. So here we are. We search for a savior to save us from the big orange goblin. Some magical Democrat that can solve all our nation's problems. But Trump is just a symptom of a money-hungry system that never had regard for our troops, no regard for the truth, no regard for the planet, and no regard for the youth. Trump was born into this just like you and I. Trump is as American as apple pie. So I won't ask what would America do. I know what America has done. Instead, I ask, what can America be if we step up in the days to come? Can we be a place where pharmaceutical riches do not result in more sickness, where corporations have constraint and cannot buy our politicians, where the money we use to wage war goes to healing Mother Earth or building houses for the poor? It's just a thought. A place where all synagogues are safe, where our Muslim brothers, sisters, and siblings are looked upon with grace. A place where young girls can walk the streets without being harassed, because young boys are taught to understand the traumatizing effect that has. So what can America be? A place where someone who looks like me and loves like me can actually feel safe and free? Where black and brown women are not minimized and the power of our insides is reflected on the outside? Our potential, our resilience, our imagination, and our brilliance. Because my ancestors fought for me to have a voice. They fought for me to have a vote. So I talk my shit and I cast my ballot. I honor them by doing both. Because they knew what America could be, but it starts with you and it starts with me. Because although he spews lies and his actions show cowardice, assigning that much power to any man will eventually render you powerless. That's right, powerless. So don't ask what would America do, ask what can America be? And the answer to that question, my friends, is solely up to you and me. I'm Genesis B, y'all. Thank you.
21 years, got a few friends I can trust. I've got a couple more, baby, but we don't talk that much. I've got a woman, thank God, she's the best that I've ever seen. Well, she keeps me rolling like an 18-wheel machine, and I'm on a roll. Hey, America, see, I'm looking for a sign. Hey, America, some little sign of life. See, I'm an Indiana boy with a heart that won't sit still. Yeah, my cup is running over, but I still ain't got my fill. So won't you pray for me, Mary, that I keep my spirit right? And can you help me, Jesus, when I wanna give up this fight? 'Cause I'm on a roll. I've been rolling on. Yeah, I'm on a roll. Hey, America, see, I'm looking for a sign. Hey, America, just a little sign of life. Hey, America, ain't we been living by faith and not by sight? We've been driving through these mountains in the middle of the night. There's this rain coming down, but I think I see your light. Hey, America, hey, America, hey, America.
Thank you, Brandon. Hey, America, how are you? My name is Nick Brock. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I am thankful that all of you are here with us this evening enjoying this shade. As Doug mentioned, we have had a whole lot of sun, so we are grateful just to be in Florida. I think in Michigan it snowed the other day, at least in the Upper Peninsula, so thanks. Like I said, my name is Nick Michigan. Let me start. My name is Nick Brock, and I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan. An area, thank you, an area that has historically been a stronghold for the Republican Party, and where they voted in this way for at least 120 years, from 1884 to 2004, it was this way, it was this pattern that was set where the Republican Party was the seat of politics. And Grand Rapids is also known as a conservative Christian area. So by and large, this has meant that the biblical word of sin has been hyper-focused upon theology and personal piety, while dithering and doing not as much as it has done in regards to doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God, especially in regards to the LGBT community. And again, for generation upon generation, a particular kind of pattern has been passed along. And it is within this maintenance of this religious and political context where church buildings with high steeples anchor street corners, and where Trump signs saying, "Keep America great," pepper the landscape, and where multiple members of my family have pledged their vote for Donald Trump again. It's within this context that I have chosen to say no. I've chosen to say no to the Republican Party as it stands, and I've chosen to say no to the re-election of Donald Trump, and no to the white-knuckled grip of the status quo. In its place, I have chosen to say yes. Yes to vote common good. Yes to faith, hope, and love, because it is within this space they have provided me the context, the vocabulary, the language, and the permission to open a door and cross the threshold into a deeper understanding and reimagined understanding of faith and politics that pivots I think it did. So check. Check good. All right. As I was saying, faith and politics. This is where we're at. Faith and politics, and a pivot of an understanding on this 5-letter, 2-syllable word, power. So let me briefly explain this. This past summer, in a New York Times article written by Elizabeth Diaz, Diaz recounted a story therein from 2016, where then candidate Trump was on the campaign trail in Sioux City, Iowa, one of the most conservative Christian communities in the nation, and not unlike a community of my own, and perhaps one similar to yours. And while there, he addressed a crowd of curious and eager white evangelicals, saying this: Christianity is under a tremendous siege, whether we want to talk about it or we don't want to talk about it. And Christians make up the overwhelming majority of the country, and yet we do not exert the power that we should have. Christianity will have power. If I am in the White House, you're going to have plenty of it. You're going to have somebody representing you very, very well, and you don't need anybody else. Remember that. In effect, Donald Trump wanted to cut a deal for political power with Christian voters and have them sign their name on the dotted line. And they did, to the tune of 81%. 81% of white evangelical voters. And closely behind them was 60% of white Catholic voters. But the politics of Donald Trump, Trumpism, is a species of hysterical intolerance and oppression built on demagoguery, intimidation, and a cult of personality. And he sold us a bill of goods that was and continues to be a false and distorted, hijacked view of the Christian narrative for power that we find in the life and teachings of Jesus. In the prophetic and poignant words of Frederick Douglass, the former slave who called out the slave-holding religion that slave owners preach from the pulpit, he said this: between the Christianity of this land and the Christianity of Christ, I recognize the widest possible difference. Friends, it is high time that we remember very, very well who we Christians represent and who we want to represent us. Because as a body politic, we have missed the mark, and it has been 4 years too long. In stark contrast to Trumpism, the politics of Jesus undermined the power, the meaning of power at every turn, even when lynched upon a tree, crucified. Both tactics used for ethnic intimidation to enforce law and order while the oppressors stood back and stood by. This naked, sexually assaulted, brutalized, dehumanized, and non-white Jesus suffocated upon a cross and died under the heavy knee of a system that said his life does not matter. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? And yet it was this very Jesus, wanting his fledgling group of friends, religious scoffers, and elite government officials to reimagine where and how power from above manifests in the streets below, in the public square, and in church parking lots just like this one. You see, the way Jesus died 2,000 years ago at the hands of the Roman Empire is as relevant and subversive for us today in 21st century America. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The politics of Jesus, where on earth as it is in heaven, is not just a short-form prayer to climb the rungs of the spiritual ladder. It is also a public policy statement about how the space between heaven and earth becomes so razor-thin that the naked eye could hardly differentiate between the two. And the framework of its constitution could be summarized as thus: let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, who, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in human likeness, and being found in this human form, he emptied himself, became obedient and humble to the point of death, even death on a cross. And it is therefore that God highly exalted him. The way to transformational power is not through the ascent of your ego. It is not through the ascent of your stock's value or the value of your 401k retirement plan. It is not through the ascent of your religious institution or your church denomination, and it most emphatically is not through the ascent of your political party. The liberating way that transcends the powers and principalities of this world, that crosses the divide, that gives new life to me, to you, and to us, begins by recognizing critical moments such as this one that call us to go beyond our own selfish needs for dominance, violence, and exploitation, so that resurrection becomes not just something that happened long ago or something that will happen in the future, but is an ongoing reimagining that happens right here and now by the grace of God. In other words, your kingdom come, your will be done. In the final analysis then, Donald Trump is right. Christianity will have power, and plenty of it. It's just that he and his enablers have yet to conclude that Christianity has already possessed it and has before since 2016. For in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh, and we have seen Jesus full of grace and truth. In closing, I have chosen to say no to the politics of Donald Trump because my yes recognizes the earthquaking power of the politics of Jesus, where humility, self-emptying, obedience, and grace and truth carries within it all the momentum needed to rise up and protest the interference of a large and cumbersome stone that stands in the way of an uprising. So friends, may you choose not to go right in your politics. And may you choose not to go left, but may you choose to go deeper. Deeper into the mind of Christ, who by the power of his work within us is able to accomplish immeasurably more than all we can imagine. And may you seek faith, hope, and love for the common good, not only with your vote until November 3rd, but in everything that you do. My name is Nick Brock. Peace be with you, friends.
I was raised Church of Christ. My father is the elder of the Church of Christ, and I'm not even going to sit up here and lie. I have questions. I think like every human does, but I also don't try to prove my Christianity by going to take a photo in front of a church with a Bible. But my mom one time said, my mom is like this perfect human being. She really is. It's very odd. My mother's really perfect, and she said one time, he did something, and he said, you know, Steffi, heaven would be such a wonderful place if it weren't for those Christians. Which is kind of true. It's just like, I don't know. But anyway, this is a song about love. And if we just get out there and love each other, I think it's going to be okay. And just...
How we gonna build a bridge, and all we do is build a wall? How can we claim we're not all the same when God made us all? And how we gonna raise our babies? Yeah, how we gonna teach them grace? We preach about love on Sundays, Mondays is back to hate. So here's another song about loving each other, just another song about digging down deep. Take a good look at the heart of your brother. We all laugh, we all love, and we all bleed. We all want a better tomorrow, 'cause everybody's had enough of all of the hurt and the hatred. Yeah, we could sure use some love. Oh, but getting there, it won't be easy. So much work to be done. Better or worse, it's all up to us. But a change has just got to come. So here's another song about loving each other, just another song about digging down deep. Take a good look at the heart of your brother. And we all laugh, we all love, and we all bleed. Yeah, change has got to come. Also hear another song about love. It's just another song about love.
Everybody enjoying this lovely Florida afternoon weather? I know I am. I'm glad to be here. I am Reverend Mark Sandlin. I am a Presbyterian PCUSA minister, and I bring you greetings from the Presbyterian Church of the Covenant, my home church, in North Carolina. So just lovely to be here. Shout out to all of my church members. I know many of you are watching. Look, there's something I wanted to talk to you about today, just a little bit. You know, when you look at the Bible, when you look at the life of Jesus, from the story of the Good Samaritan to the 30-some people that he healed, faith, hope, and love. I'm already getting the mic to respond. This is good. It likes me. Faith, hope, and love, they were central to the idea of who he was. Sorry about that. I've got my notes are going crazy with the mic. I don't know what that was all about. But anyway, they were central to his identity, to who he understood himself to be. And I have to ask us, as Christians, as followers of Jesus, shouldn't faith, hope, and love then be central to our personal identities? You see, without those three things, without the recognition of other people's basic human rights and dignity, well, you get folks who will fight to protect what they perceive to be their own personal rights, without any regard to the impact, the cost that doing so will have on others. Now, I suspect, just like me, that you've been watching the news, and if so, you know that is exactly what is actually occurring in our nation to too many Americans. A certain portion of our society who once considered themselves faith and family values voters, certainly don't outwardly show faith, hope, and love, particularly when it comes to basic human rights. Friends, how is that a faith voter? We happen to believe that hope, faith, and love should be a central part of your identity as a Christian. We also happen to believe that those three things should be a central part of your decision process in voting. You see, the lack of compassion that we see from far too many Americans must be countered with love, not with hate, not with bullying, and certainly not with voting for Trump. Trump has done nothing but fan the flames of misogyny, fan the flames of racism, fan the flames of xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, and white supremacy. He just sets the nation burning, and then he all too casually heads to the golf course. Folks, even this administration's spin factory can't make those things look like biblical hope and biblical love. So, when you vote with your faith on your sleeve. Vote for compassion. Vote for love. Vote for real hope. Vote Trump out of the White House. But here's the thing. Over the next 26 days until what many are calling the most important elections of most of our lifetimes, if hope, faith, and love are a central part of your identity, I know that voting just simply isn't enough for you. We want to help more people see that voting for the current administration is simply not the compassionate thing to do. So let me help you with this one simple idea of what more you can do than just vote. I'm here to ask you to join Vote Common Good's virtual phone banking. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited about this because this Sunday, we will be talking to young folks from my home state, North Carolina, young folks who are committed to environmental issues. And we still, I think, need about 25 folks or so to join us on that phone bank. So please go to the booth back there, or you can text GOOD to 66866 and sign up that way. Now, like I said, I am a minister. And we ministers, we love our Bible verses. So, I'm going to finish my time here with you with one Bible verse. A new commandment I give you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. And by this, people will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So get out the vote. Let hope, faith, and love lead you. And show your love to others by ensuring a new administration in 2021. I thank you for your attention so much. I just leave you with this. Hey, wear a mask, wash your hands, most importantly, love each other.
Thank you, Mark. Mark's been my roommate and driver on this trip. First time I've heard him preach. Good preacher. What's that? That was my pastor right there. Well, Jesus said, love your neighbor. Trump said, forget that. Jesus said, feed the hungry. Trump said, here, would you like a brand new red baseball cap? Jesus said, forgive them. And then Trump sued Jesus pretty bad. Jesus said, oh, I hope these 26 days go by fast. On the backs of women and children, people of color, immigrants, Muslims, LGBT and Q. Trump sold his gospel of intolerance and hate. People hid behind their wallets, letting bigotry have its day. And I don't think Jesus would have done it that way. Can I get an amen to that? Well, I don't think Jesus would have done it that way, yeah. Well, I don't think Jesus would have done it now, the way it's being done right now. Yeah, we gotta love this big old world, oh, the best we possibly can. 'Cause I don't think Jesus would have done it now, the way it's being done right now. He told the Proud Boys to stand by. Are you kidding me? Well, I guess it really is the White House after all now. Yeah, it's time we have ourselves a barbecue out on our White House lawn. And all the people Trump hates, we gonna bring along. 'Cause I don't think Jesus would have done it that way. Well, I don't think Jesus would have done it now, the way it's being done right now, Mike Pence. Well, we gotta love this big old world. Yeah, the best we possibly can. 'Cause I don't think Jesus would have done it the way it's being done right now. Well, I don't have all the answers. You know, life is a mystery. But there's a lot of people better at this life thing than me. But I do know how I feel, and I'm just trying to keep it real. And I'm just trying to do it Jesus' way. Yeah, I'm just trying to do it a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope, a little bit of love. I'm just trying to do it. Oh, the Jesus way. Yeah, we're gonna love this big old world. We're the best we possibly can. And all y'all gotta try to do it. Try to do it with me any way you can. But try to do it with a little bit of love, a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith, and transparency, and honesty, and values. Try to do it now. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's Reverend Vince Anderson right out of... I've watched him sing that song in bars in Brooklyn, New York, and now in parking lots over here in Florida. Hey, friends, this is one of my favorite part of our little get-together. This is what I like to call the Harvey Milk moment. This is because we're here to recruit you. We're not just here hoping you're going to have a good time tonight, maybe meet a person or two, maybe click on something on the website. We're really hoping that you'd come with us. Now, we only have 26 days left, so it's probably enough time for you to plan a road trip or get inside this big, beautiful bus. But we'd love to take you with us in some way. And one of those ways is we want you in the tank with us, as we like to say it around here, because there's 4 things that get us around this country. You know 3 of them already, faith, hope, and love. But you know what moves that big bus down the road? Diesel moves that bus down the road. So we'd love to have you in the tank with us, if you know what I'm saying. And that means asking for a contribution or a donation. This is our PBS moment. We'd literally send you home with a water bottle. We'd send you home with a tote bag. We'd send you home with a t-shirt. We'd send you home with all those kinds of things because we really want you to feel like you're part of this with us. Now, anything over on that table, you feel free to take it home with you. If you'd make a donation, we'd love to have you do that. Now, we only have 26 days left, so that means some of the things we've been doing, you got to hurry up. Like if you're going to get in this postcard campaign, you're going to have to get those tonight. Here's what the postcard campaign is. The postcard campaign is you get a packet of postcards with 15 postcards in them that have one of the messages like you see around up front here. And then on the back of it, it's just blank like a postcard. But then we give you 15 email or 15 mailbox addresses of people who live right here in South Florida. People that we know are faith voters. And we know they're going to show up and vote on Election Day. And we want you to go into their mailbox and remind them to make faith, hope, and love their priority on Election Day. So go home with a packet of postcards. Go home with that. Go home, text this phone number. Go home with a list of phone numbers you'll pick up on Sunday where you can make a phone call to people. Because this is what democracy looks like. I don't know if you know, but this is it. Now, if you think a candidate's going to come along to save the day, it's not going to happen. Now, look, I'm a big Joe Biden supporter. I'm a big booster. I'm a big fan. I want you to vote for Joe Biden, but I don't want you to be like me. I want you to vote like you, whoever you're going to vote for. Now, I think you should be voting for Joe Biden, but I'll tell you what, Joe Biden's not going to be able to solve this whole thing by himself. He's going to need all of us because this problem we've got ourselves in isn't something that only was made on Inauguration Day 2017. This has been building for a long time. Genesis is going to remind us of that again here a little bit. This has been building for a long time, and it's going to take all of us. Now look, electing a new president doesn't solve all of our problems, but the president shouldn't be the problem, and if you've had enough, like I've had enough, it's time for this guy to go, and that means that Election Day is not our finish line. Election Day is our starting line. Election Day is the day when we get busy and have to start getting to work. So that's what we're doing with Vote Common Good. We'd love for you to feel like you're part of that, and we want to take you on the road with us. Now, we're going to be traveling around. We're going to leave here, and we're going to head our way over to Sarasota. We're going to be there on Saturday, so if you have friends in Sarasota, if you want to take a trip across the Everglades, come join us over there. Then we're going to go over to St. Pete, and then we're going up to Hapeville, then we're going down to Atlanta, and then we're going to be going up to Raleigh, and we're going to be in Winston-Salem, and then we're going to make our way to Pennsylvania and over to Ohio, and then we're going to sit that bus right outside the White House on Election Day. So we're going to keep working. We hope you keep working. I'm going to ask you simply this to make this commitment. 26 days left. Would you commit 26 hours? You've given us an hour here today. We really appreciate having you. Would you give an hour every day to some action that would help somebody else get out to vote? Look, here's the thing. We've all been taught to love your neighbor as you love yourself, so don't let your neighbor go to that voting booth without a little bit of encouragement. So speak up to your neighbor and say something. If you don't know what to say to your neighbor, especially if they're a person of faith. Now, we know not everybody is, but if they are, ask them this. Would you read the Sermon on the Mount on Monday and then go and vote on Tuesday? That's something we're going to be doing. We're going to invite you into a Sermon on the Mount reading on Monday night. So if somebody happens to be an undecided voter, they're not sure who to vote for, they're not sure how to get around the corner, they're not sure what they're going to do when they walk in, which little oval they're going to fill out. I don't know, do you still punch the chads here in Florida? I don't think so, right? We're done with the Chad punching. All right, so whatever you're going to fill out, if they're not sure whose oval they're going to fill out, ask them to read the Sermon on the Mount on Monday, and then spend a little bit of time voting on Tuesday. This is the work that we have to do, right? Now, and friends, that means it's starting for us on the 4th of November, because there's a lot that's going to happen between the 4th of November and the 20th of January. Those could be the 79 most important days in this country, and we're going to need everybody to be ready to go and stepping forward. Now, we're going to serenade you a little more. You're going to hear a song from Steph right now, and then you're going to hear a song, and then you're going to hear a little piece of wisdom from Genesis, and then we're going to take a love and politics pledge with you. One of our favorite parts of the night, where we ask you to commit yourself to making love your call to every politician. Part of the reason we travel with musicians and poets is because all the talking in the world doesn't touch the heart. But a song and a piece of poetry and a call to action, that's what moves people forward. So Steph, thanks for traveling with us. Steph Mahan, what do I say Meehan every time? Steph Mahan out of Nashville, Tennessee, traveling with us for these couple of weeks. Act like she's your favorite star, because she's about to become your favorite star after this song. And give her one of those really great little rounds of applause from a parking lot in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thank you, Steph.
So I'm a musician. That's what I do full time. When I live in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I will say the world is horrible, horrible, horrible right now. People hate each other and they're mean. But also, as a musician, I still see good things out there. The world is not going to hell in a handbasket, and it's not too late for us to save it. It's really not. We just got to pull together and do it. So when I wrote this song, I was with 2 other people, and we were telling stories about things we've seen that gives us hope. And so these are some of the things we've heard and did, and it's still really good. And we've just got to keep our heads up and keep going. It's good, but we got to make it better, and we can do that.
Sweet old lady counting her pennies in the grocery line. She was sure a dime. Her eyes fell. She apologized and put the blueberries back. I was standing behind a college kid. He was watching her and I watched him dig a 5 out of his pocket and whisper, I've got this. She smiled through her tears and said, honey, you didn't have to do that. But her voice cracked. Faith in humanity, and the whole damn world is rolling right down the hill. Some soul stands up, puts a miracle right in front of me, reminding me that love is real. Our magic still happens. So I left that store a little changed. What didn't seem like much, then everything. I was holding on to a spark of hope a stranger threw my way. When I came across a homeless guy and his faithful dog I'd usually walk on by, but I stopped for a minute. I gave him a sandwich and asked their names. As hungry as he was, the second he got it unwrapped, that dog got first half. Just when I've lost my faith in humanity, and the whole damn world is rolling right down the hill, some soul stands up with a miracle right in front of me, reminding me that love is real. Oh, magic still happens. I saw a sign at the corner bookstore. It blew me away. It said, heart, and books can heal. Help yourself if you can't pay. Did you hear about the girl who had her eyes on first place? Well, she stayed behind to help her fall and ride, finish the race. So just when I've lost my faith in humanity, and the whole damn world is rolling right down the hill, some soul stands up, puts a miracle right in front of me, remind me that love is real. Oh, magic still, oh, magic still, thank God, magic still, yeah, it still happens, yeah. Magic and love still happen.
Whew, I was so mesmerized, I forgot I had to go next. Thank you so much, Steph. Another round of applause. That was such a beautiful song. It's a real songwriter there, just writing from everyday experiences. I love it. So again, my name is Genesis B. I'm the Poet Laureate of Vote Common Good, and I'm from Mississippi. I know you can't really tell. I lost my twang a little bit. Brooklyn did that to me. Yeah, Mississippi's a complicated place. You know, I grew up, I'm black, but biracial. My mother's white, my father's black. My father was a Baptist man growing up. My mother, a Catholic woman, and they both converted to Islam before I was born. So I was raised Muslim, but also taught about the gospel and the Torah. So, yeah, Mississippi's a beautiful place, but it's a complex place. William Faulkner once said, in order to understand the world, you have to understand a place like Mississippi, and it's very true. So I'm an artist, but I'm also an activist, and for the last 5 years, my activism has been surrounded around the issue of the Confederate battle flag being in our state flag, in the Mississippi state flag. For 120 years, that flag flew with a 40% black population, just letting us know that, you know, our lives just don't matter as much as the rest of the population. I remember my little niece, Millennia, she graduated high school, and I watched her as she walked across the stage under that flag. And I have other little nieces, and I said, little Maria, little Charlotte, little Carter, they're not going to walk under that flag. And that's when I got involved with trying to remove that emblem. And I'm really proud to say, as of June 30th of 2020, Mississippi retired that flag. They did. From the mounting pressure from my collaborators, from my ancestors, from myself. So Mississippi is a microcosm of our nation. Police exoneration and mass incarceration. Black and brown bodies, a commodity. Mothers separated from babies, border policy. It's like the White House is painted in the Klan's ideology, and our leadership is exploiting white poverty. Keeping us separate and divided, gay versus straight, white versus black, based off of fear and far from the facts. See, I hail from a state called the mighty Mississippi. It's the land of unsolved murder mysteries. I'm triggered by the trauma in my own family history. Because my dad was only 5 when a Klan drive-by bust bullets into his house with 6 children inside. On the back of the truck, a Confederate flag flying high. And these are the truths that they choose to deny. See, Mississippi, like America, eats your child and mine. The white supremacist lie is a prison of your own design. They forfeited their humanity in order to deny mine. Because white supremacy is a lie. Some have accepted it. A Confederate curse they inherited. Bigotry is blinding, and their fear of the other has blocked their own blessings from your sisters and brothers. Outrage, fatigue, I'm screaming, I can't breathe. From the top, it trickles down, from our judges to police. Because the illusion of freedom is far more dangerous than any jail cell or cramped cages. Yes, Mississippi is a microcosm of my nation. where cowards replace white sheets with fake avatars, repeating their parents' folklore, tooth fairy, Santa Claus. The history's whitewashed. Google black codes and bylaws. In the comment section, sound off, sound off. Lord, they sound off, don't they? They call me a nigger, a bitch, or a dyke. Call me whatever you like. I've been through worse in this fight, and the hatred in their words just proves that I'm right. Because Mississippi is a microcosm of a country that always needed me but never wanted me. My melanin and skin is a sin sentenced to build your economy. So pack the prisons, fill the quota, make us felons, never vote us. Travel bans and deportation, killer cops, no resignation. Just federal indictments and mock trials, you see. My heart bleeds as the billboard reads, make America white again as my favorite rapper concedes. Kanye. Making me question everything that I believe. And still, I love America because I have hope. Some choose to jump ship and some steer the boat. See, I know that love and humanity lives in the smile of every child, in the heart of every kid. So be brave enough to break the curse. We need you at the polls, out in droves, fighting against this bigot you oppose. Study law, run for office, make a call, write your Congress. Use your voice or choose a march. Ruth is gone, grab the torch. You can read a book, can write a rap. Just speak with truth and deal with facts, please. Alt-right affiliation of Trump's administration, Confederate infiltration, neo-Nazi showing faces. Just fueling the fear and the hatred while expanding their corporations. Do you see now how Mississippi is a microcosm of my nation? I'm Genesis B, y'all. Thank you.
And our final bit for the night is going to be this Love and Politics pledge. You see it up on those big banners, and maybe even got one of these put in your hands. If not, Brady or Raquel, I'm sure would be glad to go give you one. If you have one of these cards, and this is a place where you stand up. It's our little call response for that part of the night, and then we'd love to see you over at the table after we're done. See, the Love and Politics pledge is not a pledge for politicians. It's a pledge for voters to make a demand of their politicians. It's a different kind of a pledge. We know that when someone's going to take their oath of office to represent you at the city council or at the state legislature or federal office, they're going to take a pledge to defend the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution of the state. But we also want you to demand of them that they will act in a way of love when they represent you in their professional and political endeavors. We think it's not too much to ask politicians to act in a way of love. That's the first commitment. The second part of the pledge is that you will speak up anytime someone does act in a way of love and tell them you recognize it. You'll lend them your verbal support and say, we appreciate you acting in a way of love, whether they're from your party or another party. You'll recognize that people do the right thing. Third commitment is that if someone doesn't act in a way of love, you'd call them out on that and ask for them to change, and when they do, you'll recognize it. The fourth is that you ask politicians to hold one another accountable. No more of this, well, I wouldn't tweet it that way. Every other industry has a standard of professional conduct. There's no reason that politicians can't have a standard of professional conduct, and we think it ought to be one built around love. So then on the back of that, those are the four commitments we ask you to make. We ask you to share these with your friends. And then on the back, we have a definition of love. We like this one. Comes out of the book of 1 Corinthians. You might feel like you're at a wedding because you got a church behind you and somebody's reading the book of 1 Corinthians. But this isn't only a passage that's supposed to be about weddings. This is how people are supposed to live with each other. So here's the fun part. You get to say love 13 times in a row, and I get to say all the rest of it, but you can read along with me if you want to. So you ready? You got to do this in that shouty kind of protesty fashion. You ready? We'll practice. Yeah, there you go. Let's practice again. There we go. Let's one more time. He is patient. He is kind. Does not envy. Does not boast. He is not proud. Does not dishonor others. He's not self-seeking. He's not easily angered. Friends, I just want you to ask yourself, could you read Donald Trump's Twitter account and feel like he's acting in a way of love? We'll keep going. Back to love. Keeps no record of wrongs. There we go. Does not delight in evil. Rejoices with the truth. Always protects. Always trusts. Always hopes. Always perseveres. I think we need a little more love in our politics. Amen? Amen. Vince is going to sing us out. Thank you, Vince.
Well, put your hands together for us. I believe that human dignity will one day be restored to those who had it ripped away. Yeah, I believe in the flower in the desert it will bloom, bringing with it a new and glorious day. Now I believe that we are the ones that we're waiting for. Put my faith that human family. We will overcome divisions, look past our greed and strive, and sing songs like we've never sung before. Yeah, and I still believe now. And I still believe. Well, I believe that beauty can wither away the chains. I believe the wounded bird can fly. I believe that a mountain's gonna humble to the ground. I believe that a valley one day will rise. And I believe in a masterpiece called hope, bathed in the glorious light of love. I believe in a voice singing wisdom song, and I'll sing that song every note. 'Cause I still believe. And I still believe. And I believe we're gonna rise through the symptoms and the cause to a place that's truly hope for all. We'll rejoice in the land where borders are no more. We're gonna witness the crumbling of the walls. And I believe a new creation truly is at hand. Wrestle from the tight grip of the proud. We will join together, arm in arm, hand in hand, reclaim the beauty of this land. Yeah, and